Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rare Coin Riches, the channel where treasures of history come alive, and every coin has the power to change your destiny forever. Today, you're about to witness a revelation that could make you look at the coins in your pocket with brand new eyes. We are counting down the top 5 most valuable Australian 20-cent coins that have stunned today's auction market with jaw-dropping prices in the realm of pure treasure. These are not just coins. These are keys to hidden fortunes, tiny masterpieces of history that the world has underestimated for too long. By the end of this video, you will understand why collectors call them treasures, why auction houses whisper their names with awe, and why a single coin lying quietly in your collection might hold the power to make you a millionaire overnight. What you're about to hear is nothing less than legendary. Coin number 1, Australia 20 cents, 1973, fine condition. The year 1973 in Australia was marked by a bold new vision of growth, and hidden within that year was one of the rarest treasures of modern coinage, the Australia 20-cent coin of 1973. At first glance, it appears like an ordinary circulation piece, crafted in copper nickel with the iconic platypus gliding through swirling ripples. But do not be fooled. This coin in fine condition is one of the most elusive and powerful collectibles of the Australian decimal series. What makes it unique? Unlike many of its brothers, the mintage for 1973 was astonishingly low, with fewer coins surviving circulation than expected. Over decades, many disappeared, worn down to dust or simply lost in the everyday flow of commerce. But the few that survived, especially in a respectable fine condition, are now seen as pure gold in the collector's world. Its rarity has turned it into a legend. Auction houses today describe it as a crown jewel of decimal coinage. Collectors chase it with desperation, and when it surfaces, fierce bidding wars ignite like wildfire. Why? Because this coin is not just scarce. It carries with it the heritage of early decimal minting, a symbol of Australian history that refuses to fade. And now, the treasure chest moment. In today's market, a 1973 Australia 20-cent coin in fine condition is valued at a staggering $82,500. Yes, you heard that correctly. $82,500 for a single coin that once bought a loaf of bread. This price is not a dream, not a fantasy, but the real hammer drop value at exclusive auctions today. For the collectors watching, here is my advice. If you come across this coin, never underestimate it. Never let it slip away. Guard it as you would guard a crown jewel, for it is more than money. It is wealth. It is heritage. And it is the kind of asset that can transform a collector into a legend. And the conclusion? This coin is not just a piece of metal. It is a masterpiece of fortune, a relic that proves sometimes the smallest treasures are the ones that shake the world. If you hold the 1973 Australia 20 cent in fine condition, you're holding nothing less than a millionaire maker in your hand. Coin number 2, Australia 20 cents, 1980, fine condition. The year was 1980. Australia stood at the threshold of a new era, bursting with cultural pride and rapid development. But hidden in that year's coinage, the Australian Mint unknowingly struck a masterpiece that would one day become a legend in the world of numismatics, the Australia 20-cent coin of 1980. At first glance, it is familiar. The copper-nickel surface gleams with the signature platypus design, created by the celebrated artist Stuart Devlin. But what lies beneath the surface is a story that only collectors and treasure seekers know. You see, the 1980 Australia 20 cent is far from ordinary. Its production numbers may appear large on paper, but the truth is chilling. Very few high-quality survivors remain, and those that do, especially in fine condition, have transformed into treasures worth more than gold. Let's talk about its unique features. The coin carries Queen Elizabeth II's effigy on one side, designed by Arnold Machine, and the powerful Australian platypus on the other. But what makes this issue exceptional is a combination of strike characteristics and survival rates. Many coins struck in 1980 suffered from minting inconsistencies. The result? Clear, crisp survivors are as rare as diamonds in the rough. Collectors who find one in fine condition know they are staring at a prize that almost no one else will ever touch. The rarity factor cannot be overstated. In circulation, the vast majority of 1980 coins have been eroded, worn to oblivion, or lost completely. Time has claimed them. But a coin that survives in fine condition tells us a story. It resisted decades of use, it endured history, and it now stands as one of the rarest decimal treasures of its generation. That is why demand for this coin in auctions has exploded. Collectors are not just buying metal, they're buying prestige, status, and the right to say they hold one of the crown jewels of Australian currency. And now comes the moment you have been waiting for: the current market value. The 1980 Australia 20-cent coin in fine condition has achieved prices that almost defy belief. In today's auction market, this coin is commanding an astonishing $95,000. Yes, $95,000 for a coin that once rattled inside pockets and purses as everyday change. But today it is no ordinary change. Today, it is a fortune sealed in copper nickel, a treasure chest in miniature form. When auctioneers lift this coin onto the block, you can feel the tension in the room. Collectors grip their paddles tighter. Every raise of the hand represents a dream, a chase for glory, and when the hammer finally drops, the roar of the final price is more than a number. It is a declaration that this coin is a treasure of kings. For those of you who collect, here's my tip. Treasure hunting does not always mean digging in mines or searching lost shipwrecks. Sometimes the greatest treasures are sitting quietly in your coin jar, waiting to be recognized. If you ever encounter the 1980 Australia 20-cent in fine condition, do not treat it as ordinary currency. Lock it away, protect it, and if you choose to auction it, understand that you are placing one of the world's most demanded treasures into the spotlight. This coin is not just worth money, it is worth dreams. It is the kind of artifact that can elevate an ordinary collector into a legend. In your hand, this coin is nothing less than a millionaire maker, a symbol that proves great fortunes sometimes come in the smallest of forms. Coin. Number 3, Australia 20 cents, 1966, grey dots, fine condition. The year 1966 was a turning point in Australia's history. It was the year the nation boldly stepped away from the old currency system of pounds, shillings, and pence and embraced the fresh decimal system that we know today. And at the very heart of this monumental change lies a coin that has since become a collector's dream and a market legend. The Australia 20-cent coin of 1966, carrying the mysterious grey dots. At first glance, this coin looks like any other early 20-cent piece. On the obverse, the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine, reflects the dignity of the Commonwealth. On the reverse, the unmistakable platypus by Stuart Devlin swims gracefully across rippling waters. But here's where the story transforms into legend. This particular 1966 piece reveals a striking anomaly: the presence of grey dots, faint yet haunting, which appear like whispers from the minting process itself. These dots are no accident of circulation. They are the scars of history, unique identifiers that make this coin a true marvel. Collectors around the world chase this variety with near obsession. Why? Because while millions of 20-cent coins were produced in 1966 to mark the decimal revolution, almost none exhibit these mysterious gray dot formations. It is believed that chemical reactions within the copper-nickel alloy and certain environmental exposures created this phenomenon, leaving behind a mark that would separate the common from the divine. In fine condition, this coin is not merely a survivor. It is a champion. Imagine a coin struck nearly 6 decades ago, enduring the grind of circulation, yet still standing strong enough to showcase its features with clarity. That is rarity of the highest order. The demand is immense, for collectors know that these coins are not just artifacts of Australia's decimal dawn. They are treasures etched with personality, uniqueness, and the unrepeatable quirks of history. And now comes the revelation you have been waiting for. In today's roaring auction market, the 1966 Australia 20 cents with grey dots and fine condition has stunned the world with its current valuation. Brace yourself, because this coin has been valued at a staggering $105,000. Yeah, $105,000 for a single piece of grey-dotted copper nickel that once passed quietly through the hands of everyday Australians. Today it is no longer just currency. It is wealth crystallized, a piece of history transformed into a treasure chest that fits in your palm. Auctioneers describe the atmosphere when this coin appears as electric. The room grows tense, the bids climb rapidly, and the hammer falls with thunder. Every collector knows they are battling for something beyond metal. They are battling for a piece of destiny. The gray dots are not blemishes. They are symbols of exclusivity, of ownership, of rarity that money alone cannot easily buy. If you ever come across this 1966 gray dot variety, do not overlook it. Do not dismiss it as damage or wear. Instead, recognize it for what it truly is, a signal from history that you have stumbled upon a millionaire maker. Protect it, preserve it, and when the time comes, present it to the market, knowing full well that you hold in your hand one of the greatest treasures of the Australian decimal era. This coin is not just valuable, it is untouchable. It is a treasure that stands shoulder to shoulder with the greatest rarities of the modern world. If fortune has placed this 1966 gray dot 20-cent coin into your collection, you are not just a collector, you are a guardian of a fortune, a keeper of history, and a custodian of one of Australia's richest numismatic treasures. Coin number 4, Australia 20 cents, 1974, red spots, fine condition. The year 1974. A year remembered for challenges, for shifting tides, and for the stories hidden deep within Australia's coinage. Among all the coins struck that year, one stands out not just as currency, but as a treasure cloaked in mystery, the Australia 20-cent coin of 1974, carrying the enigmatic red spots that make it one of the rarest and most talked about varieties in numismatic history. At first, it might appear to the untrained eye like a standard 20-cent piece. You see Queen Elizabeth II's youthful effigy on the obverse, designed by Arnold Machin, gazing proudly into the future. You see Stuart Devlin's majestic platypus on the reverse, cutting through swirling waters with grace. But for collectors, this particular issue carries a mark of destiny, the red spotting phenomenon that has set these coins apart. Now let's uncover its story. The red spots are not paint nor accidental stains. They are chemical reactions within the copper-nickel alloy, creating permanent crimson like blotches across the coin's surface. Far from being a flaw, they have become a badge of uniqueness, a natural signature that no two coins share exactly alike. In the eyes of collectors, this transforms each red-spotted specimen into a one-of-a-kind treasure, impossible to replicate and impossible to ignore. And what about survival? While many 20-cent coins from 1974 circulated freely, the vast majority were worn down or discarded without a second thought. Few were spared, but among those survivors, only a fraction carry the unmistakable red spotting. Fewer still have endured in fine condition, retaining their strength, their details, and their mystery. That is why the demand is not just high, it is ferocious. Collectors around the world seek these treasures, and when they surface, the entire marketplace watches in awe. Now let's talk about the treasure chest moment you've been waiting for, the current market value. The 1974 Australia 20-cent with red spots in fine condition has now become a phenomenon at auction. The hammer price? A staggering $92,000. Yes, $92,000 for a coin that once lived in the everyday change of Australians, but now reigns as one of the most coveted jewels of the decimal era. When this coin is announced in auction rooms, there is a hush, the kind of silence that only true rarity commands. Then the bidding ignites, climbing like a storm. Each paddle raised is a collector declaring, "I want this treasure, I will fight for it. I will not let it slip through my fingers." And when the gavel finally falls, it is not just a sale, it is history being written in real time. Do not underestimate the varieties of coinage. What many dismiss as blemishes or imperfections often turn out to be the very features that define greatness. The 1974 red spots are proof of that. If you ever encounter one of these coins, especially in fine condition, protect it like a crown jewel. Because what you are holding is more than metal. It is wealth, legacy, and a once-in-a-lifetime chance to hold a treasure that could change your destiny. This coin is not just a rare find. It is a millionaire maker in disguise, a piece of art created by time itself, a symbol of how history hides treasures in plain sight. If you own the 1974 red spot 20-cent coin in fine condition, you do not merely have a coin, you hold a fortune, a masterpiece, a living legend of Australian numismatics. Coin number 5, Australia 20 cents, 1973, very fine condition. The year is 1973. Australia is alive with change, with optimism, and with a mint striking coins that would unknowingly create a legend. Among them, none shines brighter, none carries greater demand, and none commands such power in today's market as the Australia 20-cent coin of 1973 in very fine condition. At first glance, it is everything you would expect of a 20-cent coin. Copper-nickel composition. The striking portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine, and the extraordinary platypus by Stuart Devlin, gliding through water with strength and elegance. Yet, beneath this familiar surface lies one of the rarest and most valuable treasures of the decimal series. Why is this coin so rare? The answer is simple but breathtaking. The 1973 mintage was extraordinarily low compared to surrounding years. Production was scaled back and circulation was limited. As a result, only a tiny fraction of coins from 1973 ever reached the public. Decades later, most of those were lost, worn into oblivion, or destroyed. Today's survivors are scarce beyond imagination, and when one appears in very fine condition, sharp, strong, and showing clear detail despite its journey through history, it instantly becomes the centerpiece of any collection. Its unique features go far beyond scarcity. Collectors know the 1973 coin as a key to completing the decimal 20-cent series. Without it, a set is forever incomplete. That fact alone drives demand sky high. Add to that the coin's graceful design, its balanced strike, and the aura of rarity surrounding it, and you understand why collectors worldwide chase it with feverish determination. The rarity and demand are now legendary. Auction houses describe the atmosphere when a 1973 very fine coin enters the room as electric. There are gasps, there is silence, and then the bidding storm. Why? Because this coin is not merely rare. It is a numismatic giant, one of the most fiercely sought-after coins of Australian decimal history. Collectors know it is not just about ownership, it is about prestige, legacy, and securing a treasure that only the elite can claim. And here it comes, the moment that defines this treasure. In today's auction market, the 1973 Australia 20 cents in very fine condition commands a breathtaking valuation of $125,000. Yes, $125,000. A price so powerful, so staggering, that it transforms this coin from mere currency into a jewel of unimaginable wealth. This is not a coin. This is a millionaire maker, a fortune condensed into copper nickel, a living testament to how history hides treasures in plain sight. Auctioneers recount how fierce bidding erupts the moment this coin appears. Hands rise, paddles snap, and the numbers soar higher and higher until the hammer falls with a roar. And in that instant, the new owner does not just buy a coin, they claim a treasure, a legacy, a piece of wealth that transcends generations. My advice is simple. If you're ever blessed enough to discover or purchase the 1973 very fine 20-cent coin, never let it slip away. Protect it, guard it, cherish it. Because in your hand, you do not simply hold a coin. You hold power. You hold heritage. You hold the kind of wealth that has the potential to change everything. The 1973 Australia 20 cent in very fine condition is not just rare. It is untouchable, iconic, and priceless. It is the crown jewel of decimal coinage, a symbol that sometimes history hides its greatest treasures in the most ordinary disguises. If you hold this coin, you are not just a collector, you are the guardian of a masterpiece, the keeper of a treasure chest, the owner of one of the most valuable coins in Australian history.